Leeds United are set to play Bristol City tonight, and sorry, I've left this preview a little bit late. It was busy yesterday, okay? But first of all, I just want to say thank you to everyone that visited the stream yesterday when I was doing the deadline day thing. It was about 6.5 hours long in the end. It was huge, and there were so many of you that came over from Just Joe's stream. Massively appreciated. And honestly, stick around. It's a good time. I'll be doing some more streams at some point soon. Don't know if I'll be watching alonging the match, but I've not quite decided that yet. Anyway, into the preview. First up, we have the team news to talk about, and there is a fair bit to talk about. There's no Dan James for another week. That means he's not about for the Bristol City game, which could be a little bit of a problem for us because we know that he can be a key part of this squad. In addition to that, Pascal Struijk is still missing. The first stage of his rehab is done, which is the bit where he gets injections to look after the pain, but he's still a couple of weeks away from team training, and once he's back in team training, then it's a matter of how long until he's physically in the right shape for it. In addition to that, Archie Gray has returned. That's a good thing. We know he's available. Whether or not he'll get picked is a little bit up to Daniel Farke and Gray's fitness. I'll let you know my predicted lineup towards the end. And there is no Connor Roberts yet. He's not available until Rotherham because he wasn't registered in time for this match. It would have needed to be by noon yesterday off the top of my head. And he can't play in the Plymouth replay because he wasn't available for the first leg of the match. So, what happened last time we played against Bristol City? I think this is something really interesting that we can look through and try and find little trends and patterns as to why things went wrong, what went well, and can we replicate it? Leeds United won 2-1. Fantastic. Very good start. But it was unlucky not to be more. I just had a quick look through the highlights package now, and Crescencio Somerville, after we were 2-1 up, had two very good chances to put us 4-1 ahead. And it was quite unlucky to not put either of those home, and it's one of those matches where the chances are likely to come because they definitely came in the first match. It's very dominant for us. They had a total of 9 shots compared to our 21, and only one of their shots was on target, but unfortunately it went in. It was a little bit of chaos from a corner, I think, and we didn't deal with it well enough. But we'll look to deal with it properly this time because we have a little bit more structure when it comes to corners. Joe Rodon's got a little bit more authority in there right now. We don't have Pascal Struijk, who is a massive asset from all set pieces, but that shouldn't be too big of an issue because we have a very good squad outside of that. And we have improved at the back since, and you have to keep in mind, they only had that one shot on target. We had 8, and that's not counting the shots that went off target that arguably should have been put home. We were unlucky to only win 2-1 last time. In addition to that, it's important to note that Bristol really struggled to deal with the press. Even though the possession was roughly even, we had 51%, they had 49%, the passing accuracy told a massive story. In essence, they missed 117 of their passes, only getting 350 something on target, which tells us that they really struggled to pass accurately throughout the game because we were pressing them so effectively, forcing them to play balls they didn't want to play, and they didn't reach their target a lot of the time. That's compared to our passing accuracy, which is significantly higher than theirs because Bristol City sat back relatively, whereas we pressed them, made sure that they forced errors, and it worked completely fine for us. If we're able to do that again, that would be fantastic. But there is something else that we can expect from Bristol City, and that is the fact that they're fairly boring this season so far. On average, they have scored just over 1 a game and conceded just over 1 a game in 29 matches. 33 goals for, 33 goals against, goal difference of 0, and even more importantly, 3 draws in the last 3 games, with an average score for each of them of 1-1. Bristol are not a fascinating team to watch, and it feels like, although they are at home, they might just try and sap as much life out of the game as they possibly can, and it makes sense on their part, because they know that, accidentally booped the microphone, because they know that the more interesting the match, the more chances we're going to get. Because on the balance, we have the better squad here. That's not even in question. I'm having a look through their predicted lineup at the minute, and I don't really recognise any of them. Except the one guy that I've noted for later on in terms of what Leeds United need to do and how we win this game. In terms of formation, they play 3 at the back. They play a very conservative style of football. 3 central defenders, 2 wing-backs, midfielders, whatever you want to call them. In essence, they're wing-backs, with 2 defensive midfielders in front of them, and then 2 central attacking midfielders, and then a centre-forward. That is such a conservative side that is very defensive and closed up and doing its best to not concede goals that I feel like it's almost certain to have a couple of mistakes in it. In addition to that, they're relatively poor at defending the wing. They have such a focus on the centre of the pitch. In terms of their formation, of their 10 outfield players, 8 of them are up the middle. They don't play with traditional wingers, and the 2 defensive midfielders and 3 central defensive midfielders do have a little bit of licence to go out and support the wings, but they're fairly bad at defending out there, including Ross McCrory, who he's not very good. He's 25, he's got the lowest rating in their team, he's expected to play, and that would be quite good for us because he's on the same side as Crescencio Somerville. In addition to that, they are unlikely to hold the ball too much. I know I mentioned the possession in the other match was 51-49 in our favour, but we had so many more chances, and towards the end it was a matter of rest up. Doesn't matter if they have the ball because we're feeling fairly comfy as is. As long as we are playing fairly consistent football and we do what we do well, we'll be fantastic. So what do Leeds United need to do? First up, I think the predicted lineup that I am going to go with in this one, it's something like this. I'm going to start with Meslier in goal, obviously, because he's our best goalkeeper. Outside of that, I've gone Archie Gray at right back, assuming that he's fit enough to start. I feel like Daniel Farke wouldn't have said that he's available for selection at the weekend. If he wasn't, he would have added a few more caveats to that. If it isn't Gray, it'll be Byram. Centre-backs, I've gone Ampadu and Rodon. That just feels like the more solid defensive pairing. Cooper came in and it felt a little bit wobbly against Plymouth, so Ampadu-Rodon feels a little more cosy to me. With Firpo on the left, Firpo has been consistently good whenever he has played this season. Hopefully he's able to keep that up, and the match against Plymouth, where he wasn't quite able to get an assist for Bamford, is shaken off and he is able to perform at his best. In midfield, I've gone Ilya Gruev and Glenn Kamara as our 2 remaining midfielders. It just makes sense, and I quite like this balance. You've got Gruev as the disruptor, Kamara as the creator. It's a pairing that works. Going forwards, we do have the question of Dan James to answer where he's not available, so I've gone for Crescencio Somerville out on the left-hand side. He just plays very well out there. He has been one of the best players in the division this season. You can't replace him. Same applies for Jorginho Roter as a number 10. This is a straight-up number 10, and that might indicate who I'm going to pick as a number 9. With Jadon Anthony on the right-hand side. I don't know if Anthony's at his best on the right-hand side, but I don't feel like it's a good idea to move Somerville away from the left, because that's where he's comfiest. And if you've got your best player, somewhere they're comfy, somewhere they're performing, you don't ruin that. Number 9, I've gone Patrick Bamford. It adds up. He came on in the match against Plymouth Argyle and we immediately looked better. His first touch was a header on target from a corner that was a spectacular save by the goalkeeper. Very narrowly missed another chance, and I think he's in that form that he gets into from time to time where he's just unplayable. It's perfect. And I think Bamford is also needed because of the focus on his aggressive press. As I mentioned with their missed passes, they are liable to a lot of mistakes when it comes to playing the ball around the back. And that's where I think that we need to make turnovers in their half, because it's going to be hard to draw them out. We can't just do that thing where we pass the ball around the halfway line and hope that they come out and press us, because they won't. They will be happy with a point against us. We need to make sure we're winning the ball high up the pitch and we don't get into those situations where we have the ball, they sit deep, and we just sort of faff around a bit, hope for a shot. Someone takes a long shot from 30 yards, they have a goal kick. That's not going to be good. In addition to that, we really need to target the left-hand side because, as I mentioned, Ross McCrory is not very good. So he's someone that I think we can get at and start to cause problems to. They have a lot of problems in their side as well. They're missing Scott Twine, Kai Naismith and more. So it's something to target. In addition to that, we've got some predictions. I think Leeds United will dominate the ball and create plenty of chances. There will be relatively few chances for Bristol City because we are a very compact defensive unit, even though we don't have as many defenders on the pitch as they do. Both sides will be relying on clinical finishing purely because we know what happens when we take the lead. We need to wrap it up or we will get into problems. Bristol City won't get that many chances, so if they are clinical with the shots they do get, they'll be okay. That's where we really need to make what we get count, because it screams Bristol goal from one shot on target again. Ultimately, I think this will end in a 2-0 win. I think we'll do enough to shut Bristol City up, and yeah, I'm feeling a little bit confident going into this one. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and hope you enjoyed the video. See you later. Apart from the bit where I do words afterwards to people that watch until the end. I think in honour of the fact that he's still out, we're going to go with stroke for our word in the comments of the day. That'll do it.